Oh, welcome to Night Sanctum. I'm Star, and we've got a very special topic today. I get the host seat. How's that?
Yeah, that was fine. Okay, say hi, guys.
Hello.
Oh my god, why is everything dying whenever I'm in fucking VR? There we go. Cool. That was weird. Say hi, boys.
Hello.
Heyo.
Today's very special topic is being brought to you by chronic bullshit in the government. Star, would you like to tell us what today's topic is?
We are talking about mainly the Roe versus Wade trial and all that, and just our opinions afterwards of like all of that, and then the woman's body, abortion in general, and the children, either before they're in the womb or after the fact, when they're born. Just general conversation about this mess.
Outstanding.
Just to put it lightly.
Okay. So, rough topic. Does anybody actually here have any experience with family members or anyone close to them actually having abortions? Anybody? Anybody? Show of hands.
No.
Just me?
No, not really.
Really?
This year,
Hmm.
yeah.
Then I guess I'll give my small piece of the story first off. Hello, host Black for Halo here on the other side. Thought I'd give Star the host chair for today, as this is a very particular topic, mainly pertaining to women. Don't mind us stupid guys. We're mainly just trying to show our support for your situation. Our heart goes out to all you poor women out there losing your rights. And I wanted to give a platform for Star to share her thoughts on this situation.
And I appreciate it greatly.
So, my most recent experiences with the acts of abortion and or anything as recent, I will not be naming names sadly. However, somebody close to me had to go through an abortion as they were very much quite young. They were not ready for children, not financially stable, and they caught it within the correct mark for them to actually, well, there wasn't anything actually developed. However, with all the things that are currently passing as of right now, she would have basically had to have carried that child to term and not gotten any form of well-being, or if anything happened, apparently this is also affecting miscarriages as well, of if the miscarriage can't pass like through uterus and stuff, it's gonna cause problems of you'll literally have a rotting corpse inside of your body.
That'll kill the mother.
Yes,
That's
exactly, and that is abhorrent and disgusting. Honestly reminds me of that Reddit story about that chick who had that corpse that was, ugh. Nasty story, getting off topic. But anyways, the whole thing about that is, luckily she was actually able to get the proper aborticide pills, and it was able to pass through like an average or just heavy period at worst. And right now, she's currently living her best life, working hard, not really dealing with men or anything at the moment. She's just trying to get along in life. And I am very supportive of her and her choices. However, those choices are now coming into question via the fact of Roe versus Wade is getting overturned. And now with Roe versus Wade getting overturned as it is, a woman's right to be able to choose her body over a mass of cells growing in them is coming into question. I'm sorry if it sounds a bit rambly, as I'm a guy, I don't know enough on said subjects, but I'm trying to definitely show what I can of support from what I am knowledgeable in.
it is appreciated. As a woman, it's frustrating that this is happening. I personally have gone through a type of trauma where I was living with my mother and stepfather for a small time after I graduated high school. And I was a legal adult by this age. It was like somewhere in
You were still very much a young adult.
Yeah, I was only like 19 or 20 years old, maybe both, because it was like towards the end of the year at one
19 to
point.
20,
But
yeah.
yeah, there you go. That's how I should word it. Anyway, well, after becoming 19, stepfather started getting Google eyes from me, and he made his move, and he just started using me as his personal plaything, putting it PG appropriate. And I went through an entire year of not saying anything out of fear, because I know how aggressive my mother is, and we lost a goat. Sorry, sidetrack.
Lost the goat.
And then, and as well as I've heard the stories of, you know,
of
in court,
victims
even if it's the truth, it's just not proven, or whatever the case.
It's not provable unless you get a very quote-unquote deep victim test, so to speak, to put it lightly.
Yeah,
they basically
a very
insert something into you
invasive.
and
They have a rape kit.
Yeah, rape kits.
They have a rape kit. They get invasive. It's very uncomfortable. And welcome back. And I've never had to do it myself because, like I said, out of the fear, I never said anything. Eventually, I was able to get the strength thanks to my late grandmother, may she rest in peace, to talk to my mother, who sent me to the police. And then there was a whole drama about that. But basically, in the end, the police said because of a lack of physical evidence, they couldn't press charges.
Because
but
you
they
never
believed
got a
me.
rape kit.
I never had a rape kit. I never had any of his stuff inside me.
Yes, exactly.
So, yeah. So, because of that, they couldn't actually prosecute him. But they believed me. I have my ex-boyfriend who was in the room with me as the DA had told me they believed me. They gave me a paper for free therapy wherever I went in all kinds of different stuff, like for support groups and all that. The reason why I bring this entire backstory up is because if I had gotten pregnant with that man's child, and say I'm living where I am now here in the state of Texas, where it is illegal to get an abortion.
Where it's currently illegal,
yes. I cannot. I would not be able to live with myself to have the child of my rapist.
She would have had to carry that.
I would, and then I wouldn't have loved the child.
Probably
I would
sent them up in the foster care system. And then everybody knows how bad the foster care system, it's absolute dog shit.
Yeah. People shouldn't get paid to take care of the kids, honestly. But that's a later topic today.
Yeah, we'll get
if we can get to it. But in a scenario like that, it's even in states where they say it's illegal to just walk in, get an abortion, whatever it is. If there is a situation where the woman has been raped, 1. 2, it becomes a medical danger to mother or child. Whether the mom's keeping the baby or not doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Or 3, like
inability to care for said child, whether that be mental, lack of mental stability, financial stability, meaning people in ghettos and such, as well as what is it called?
Drugs or anything like the
Anybody
sorts
on
like that.
drugs and
Druggies.
inability to actually take care of themselves should not be put in the should not have child put into their hands in a
There
similar
shouldn't.
sense.
Anyone with the inability to raise a child right now.
Anybody with the inability to raise a child.
I,
Sure, you do have situations, I will say, sure, you do have situations where they have a child and it changes their life, they go for the better, stuff like that happens. But I'm not going to give the benefit of the doubt on any human to fucking have the ability of doing that so simply.
I mean,
There's a very high chance that they're not going to end up in a good home if something like that happens.
and there's even people out there that, here's two completely different sides of the coin. People with no money, but will love and cherish their child and give them as much as they possibly can.
Yeah.
Other side of the coin, people with all the money in the world has a child but does not love it.
Yeah.
Treats it like absolute shit. I've heard so many Reddit stories about that. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god, why have a child in the first place?
They obviously didn't want children, they wanted money and sex.
Bingo.
Exactly.
They treat the child as a statement piece most of the time.
Yeah, exactly. Or an heir.
Or,
A lot of rich people
or
need
if,
heirs.
yeah, or if they're in church.
That too.
If they're like a big head in church, or like they're one of the more popular people, they will get a child just be like, oh, I'm a great mom, and actually you're a piece of shit because you abuse your child, make it do all of your housework while you sit on the couch and get fatter and fatter every day.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now, this is a thing at churches that they want you to produce as many children as possible. Like
Oh,
it's so
oh no,
churches, not all of
100%.
them.
A lot of churches have that thing of indoctrination. Of they want as many people to have babies, that way they can have more members and keep a line going. Because if everybody that went to church was just a bunch of old people, that'd eventually die off, you know what I mean? But if you have people that are born into the church, it kind of keeps the cycle going.
Now,
And I have nothing against people with religion. I used to go to church myself for like Christianity.
Neither do
But
I,
I
even though
became
I
an
am
atheist.
personally agnostic.
But
yeah, I'm the only one here that actually goes to church a bit, but I still see the problems with the issues with church.
see, here you go. And it's like, I don't have a problem with families taking the kids to church or whatever, but say, don't just force your religion to make you have kids or make other people have kids or be a certain way. I heard and looked it up myself in the Holy Bible of God that there is a verse or something like that, whatever it's called,
Oh, Atlantic died again.
that says, huh?
Atlantic died again.
Atlantic
Sorry.
died.
Oh, okay.
The goat is dying.
But
It feels like every time we're talking about the church, they're sacrificing the goat. Sorry, I had to throw in some jokes there.
that just that
Gotta throw in the
I
jokes.
can reach out and throw this at you. Here, hang on.
God.
Gotta have a little humor here, man. Just to get the mute up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is a heavy topic, so it's understandable if we get a couple jokes here and there. But anyway,
Getting some serious in there, but breaking the ice, yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
the Holy Bible of God, Star.
thank you. There's a verse in there that's something along the lines of, you don't judge anybody else that is outside of your group. By group, I mean like your church or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not supposed to judge anybody, honestly.
You're not supposed to judge your fellow man.
You're not supposed to judge a single person for how they live their life or what they do with their life or whatever. Because that's God's job. That's his job.
I believe it's the sentence, let
he's
he
not
without
happy with
sin cast the first stone. You can't judge somebody unless you're completely untouchable, you know what I mean?
Yep. Now, pretty much the major thing in the Bible I think that everyone should pretty much listen to is treat thou neighbor as y'all want to be treated. It's something like that. It's been a while with
Treat thy
Treat
neighbor
yourself
as
the way you want to be
thyself.
treated.
Yeah, treat
Yeah,
thy neighbor
thank
as
you.
thyself.
Thank you.
I'm saying it in a
And
more English term.
Mm-hmm.
Treat your friends, your neighbors, whoever, the way you want to be treated. If you're gonna act like a bitch to everyone else, they're gonna be a bitch back, and that's how you said you wanted to be treated. If you're very nice and humble, and, just be like, "Excuse me, can you help me with this?" Or, "Hey, you look nice today." Even if you don't really think it, if you say it, you're doing better. You're treating everybody else nice, and they're gonna treat you nice too.
Exactly.
You're like, "Oh, hey, you're gorgeous," or, "Man, that shirt looks great on you, boy." They're just gonna be great to you. It doesn't matter whether they're gay, straight, want to abort their child. Getting back to that direction,
Yeah.
There's reasons for everything, and you're not supposed to judge.
I'm
So,
also a heavy believer of... Sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I'm also a heavy believer of you should be allowed to do whatever you want with your body, whether that means harming and causing trauma to your body. You should be allowed to do whatever you want to yourself, as long as you're not impacting somebody else.
Yeah.
You should be allowed to, well, basically do most anything as long as you're not affecting the environment, somebody else's well-being, or, well, stuff along those lines. Because honestly, my biggest thing is I don't think emotional trauma counts towards the thing of, oh, my Aunt Marjorie hates that she raised a faggot, so she wishes that she aborted me. No, but fuck it, it's weird shit. But no,
That entire sentence.
Yes, it was absolute conniving dog shit.
Marjorie.
Yes, exactly.
Aunt Marjorie wishes she aborted me? What?
Yes, because it's an incest joke.
Oh,
But what I'm saying
yeah,
is...
that's another example of why you wouldn't want a kid.
Exactly. Cases of incest or stuff kind of just happens.
Cases...
Hell,
incest...
all types of Mexican people around the area where I currently live have an incest problem because everybody's kind of related. This isn't even a shot at Mexicans. This is just a shot at small towns in certain areas. A lot of the people around here are related. You have to date somebody from outside of town because there's a high chance you're going to end up dating your cousin if you go with somebody nearby.
I straight up have to do a fucking history thing on their entire bloodline where I live, and I live in a pretty big place. It's automatic. I can't help it.
Just making sure.
I mean, you could just turn it off in your settings, but anyway.
Either.
Jokes aside.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a believer of people should be able to do what they want as long as it's not affecting the environment or other people. Even if that means it being detrimental to you in the future of maybe you regret something and stuff. At least you had the choice to do that. Even if you regret it, at least the ability to have that choice of doing so. If you have the choice to do something, I don't think you should ever regret something. Because that means you were able to have a decision, not you were forced to do one or the other. You made a choice, and you can stick with it, and you can regret it. But that's not necessarily a reason to hamper other people's abilities to actually make their own decisions. Like what happens with people from the 70s all having a fucking baby boom and stuff. And because they all went to church, they had to carry the terms because they would be frowned upon. What those old fucks don't even think of is how it's going to be affecting, like, for example, Star. If she were to get knocked up, what the fuck is she gonna do? This isn't the same economy it was back then. It's so much harder to take care of a child in this day and age. Both parents have to be working.
I honestly can hardly afford to take care of myself.
Exactly.
Right now.
Both parents have to be working a job just to get by. Almost leaving no time for the child, causing them to be quote-unquote abused or neglected. Like, even without meaning to, because what's Star and her husband going to do if there's no money coming in? What are they going to do outside of that? Everybody likes to say, oh, we care for the fetus, we care for the baby inside. None of y'all give a fuck about what happens after they're born. Nobody's wanting to fucking pay taxes for support for these types of mothers and stuff. Nobody's wanting to actually funnel money into giving these children a good life. Like, I'm sure if Star got a actual, hell, a natal support, prenatal support, stuff like that, maternal support, maybe, hell, she probably wouldn't even feel so bad about actually having a child. She could have a child with her husband, and that child would be taken care of if she knew it would actually have a high chance of being taken care of and being raised well by the fact that they would have enough money to be fine. I don't think there would be any actual problem.
And that's even if we wanted the kid.
Exactly, that's also if y'all wanted it as well.
Because, like, right now, he's too young for a child.
Oh, no, obviously. Y'all obviously are,
do
but
not want to pass on.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not, but
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of hereditary health issues that I wish to never pass on to a child. I would feel horrible giving this stuff to a child.
I can understand that, as well as my ADHD, depression, and a couple other almost disabling abilities. Those can be super detrimental.
And, like,
I went through hell as a child.
But not just mental health.
I don't even know how.
But I have physical health issues. Because
you have
as a woman,
cysts?
On my mother's side of the family, we genetically pass down to every girl have polycystic ovarian syndrome. Basically, our lady bits don't work like this. Yeah, they don't work like they're supposed to.
Her eggs hurt when they pass.
Oh, very much.
Basically.
And it can become very enabling. Like, there are women out there who will practically scream and cry in pain just because of a period, because of their polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Mm-hmm. Scar tissue.
Or PCOS.
My sister and my friend also have that. It's awful for them. They have some of the heaviest periods. I understand why they get mad at me so easy.
I used to have crazy bad periods, but after I got the very right kind of birth control, I got very normal flow, and I'm actually regular. That's another thing with the PCOS, is you don't always have a period. So there's pregnancy scares all the time, or if you were not sexually active like I used to be in high school.
I was gonna say, didn't you have
I mean, nobody wanted to do me.
I was gonna say, didn't you have a period
scare? Entire year.
Not a period scare, pregnancy scare for almost, fucking 4 or 5 months ago? You thought that you might have...
Actually, it's a little more recent than that, but yeah.
A little more recent? You thought you might have actually been pregnant, but it was just a period had skipped.
My period was delayed. That was it. We did multiple tests, and no kid. But anyway, there was a time in high school, I went an entire year, I was 17 years old, and I went 12 months without a single drop of blood coming out of my hoo-ha.
Okay, we might be having Lynn join, but Lynn is not in the nightly crew, so does anybody want to do something about that?
I'll do it.
Yeah, I can do it.
I could do it.
You're gonna add her to the nightly crew?
Yeah, I mean, she's out pretty up there in my DM, so...
Right.
Okay, that's fine.
Cool.
We're gonna have another...
We're gonna have
woman to help
chick
with our
to talk
opinions.
about this. Yes, thank you.
Yes, we're gonna have another point of view.
Another woman's point of view. Try to help you there, Cheeto.
I shall be giving up my seat for that. As well as, this is another topic which we can probably get into as Lynn is in. We will probably be talking about the situation of what you just said about having birth control and to be able to regulate yourself. Some women's bodies are unable to actually fully regulate properly, and they almost require the birth control to keep them regular and allow them to actually have less painful or etc. periods.
And certain states are probably
exactly like my situation.
Probably preventing that too.
My friend also has a very similar situation to that as well. She got off of birth control for a while because she has that ovarian cyst syndrome. And unknowingly, she thought, kind of partially, she thought she was going to be one of those cases where she couldn't get pregnant because the doctors have told her that for a long time because of so much scar tissue is built up. My sister was the same way. Haha, she has 2 kids. But yeah, she had so much scar tissue built up.
Ovarian syndrome, you can still have kids.
You can still have kids, but a lot of doctors always say, "Oh, you have so much scar tissue, it's never gonna work," and then they put their guard down. And back, we had to have a little bit of a cut there. Sorry about that, folks. And now we are getting back into a whole thing of a topic piece. As we were saying before, there's this whole situation of scar tissue and not being able to regulate yourself. Some women are not able to regulate their bodies as easily as some other women, which requires them to actually have birth control to be able to actually have their body give them a natural and more efficient flow for their hormones
I'm a
and
perfect
stuff.
example of that.
Exactly. My
Like
sister is
I went an entire year without.
My sister's actually the same way. But yes, whenever it comes to the whole thing of ovarian cysts, my friend had the thing of she didn't think she would actually be able to have kids because of doctor reasons. The doctor misinformed her, hey, you might not be able to have kids because of your ovarian cyst and scar tissue problems. So, one thing leads to another. She hooks up with a boyfriend of hers. They date for a little bit, and she ends up getting pregnant after almost 2 months. And things are just not going right in that relationship. The guy constantly just like basically blows her off for video games, basically. Like, worst type of fucking dude. Basically an incel that gets sex. You know what I mean? But the way it kind of goes, she gets pregnant, and she is nowhere near able to actually have a child, like, well, to be well off, actually. She would be in a very awful situation of she wasn't ready to be a mom, no financially stable, and her mental health was on very much the decline. Not to mention his family was kind of being very shitty to her because she wanted to get an abortion. Luckily, the father agreed that it was in both their best interests that she get it, but also the fact that she actually had that choice is a really good thing, because if she would have been a parent and stuff, and a lot of shit would have went down and she would have had to carry fully, honestly, I don't even know if we would even be friends. I don't even think she would have even tried to contact me and get back in contact and just be friends again with me. I feel she would have had to...
she wouldn't have loved the child if she had...
Oh no, obviously, she would have loved the child to death for what she could, but she wouldn't have been able to provide by the sheer fact of how not set she was. She wasn't set, like, as an adult. She's only like 20 years old. I don't think any 20-year-old should be having kids. Sure, it happens. Hell, even teenage pregnancies work out, but anybody that's anybody under the age of 22 should not be having kids, because you're still figuring out how to be an adult in the first place. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think, like, it should become not really an automatic thing, but, like, one of the higher up there on the list of options to do for, say, 13-year-olds, or maybe even younger, depends on when you get pregnant.
Hey, man, fucking bullshit happens because girls get molested or raped, and this is getting very easily demonetized. We're not doing this for money, we're doing this to give a platform for people to speak on. But this is the biggest thing about
I guess
this.
I'm just trying to censor myself because I've got a group of guys here next to me talking about this, but I guess I can get nitty-gritty about the details.
You could very much get nitty-gritty, mainly because it's a thing of whatever you feel comfortable saying publicly, or anonymously, because nobody knows your actual name.
Helps. Yeah.
Yeah. So, rape happens, molestation happens, girls as young as almost
and
12
it can
years
be
old
from,
when they're
like,
girls as young as 12 years old whenever they're kind of just barely starting, you know, to become women and stuff. Shit happens. It's gross.
I started at like 10, so it can happen even younger too.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, the quote unquote creepy uncle or that one neighbor can be a little too friendly,
Or
and they're
I
gonna do
like,
something
or
with your
the
kid.
teenage girls that are like, oh, I love him, and he's like fucking almost like 28 and she's like 16.
But Daddy, I love him.
You know, exactly, a situation like
No.
that. Like, in
I
situations like
know.
that should also be applicable for the girl's safety.
It's like,
Because when you're that
kid,
young,
you don't even know what love is yet.
like, whenever you're that young, especially, pregnancy is almost basically a very big health risk. It can knock years
Yes.
off your life.
It is.
Because you're still so small.
Now, I do have one question though. What if it's reversed now? Where it's a very young
Nobody
male.
cares about a guy, Jado.
Which is actually sad, but
It is really sad, but fucking nobody cares about a
No,
guy.
I was
A
just-
guy can't get knocked up.
I know that.
well, okay,
but
there
I'm just-
actually are men out there that can get
Okay,
pregnant.
there are because of the trans stuff, but I'm saying
Yeah. Nothing against you.
guys
You're
born with
consideration.
penor can't get knocked up. Unless you're wanting to
Yeah, we're
fucking
talking
talk
about
shit about,
baby
oh,
uteri.
my adult teacher fucked me whenever I was a teenager. Shit like that, in which case, we're not talking about that.
Oh,
We're
and
talking
you know,
about
there's a
women's
reverse
stuff.
here too that you just reminded me of. Another situation.
If a father
can
can't
be-
provide for a child, and the mother is also
I was
unable
actually
to
not
as
going
well.
that way.
Oh, I thought you were doing
What
a
I
thing
was
of like
gonna
child
say. No. Just hear me out.
Oop.
Young male student fucks adult female teacher gets pregnant, female teacher should have abortion because, no?
support. Yes, obviously.
That's not right? That's where I was going with that.
Yeah, I
But
understand
you
that
do
too.
have a point with what you
But
were saying
there's a lot of women that get away with that, even though they're fucking predators. There's a lot
That's what I
of
was
women that are
asking.
older than the
I mean-
guys, and they get away with that. And also the fact of if
think-
the chick ends up getting pregnant because of that,
Yeah.
lot of times-
that dude's life is kind of completely fucked over, even though even though he was getting preyed upon.
And that's what I was
And
asking.
as a
is,
teenager, you don't
what about
realize it.
those situations?
Yeah.
Like, you're all for it as a horny teen, being like, hey, yeah, fuck me. But then, oh, wait, there's a consequence? Oh, no. Yeah, no.
That's another thing I've been seeing
Kids-
everybody bitch about on Twitter on the right, mainly about the whole church stuff, is the whole thing of protection and stuff. Honestly, I'm all for. I think everybody should be safe when doing anything sexual, obviously. I think you should definitely impart having sex as a risk, and I don't think abortion should be your go-to. Like,
Yeah. But there are
There
people out
is
there
a
who are
thing
allergic
of-
to say,
there is a
condoms
piece of
or
me
whatever, but there
being
is-
raised in a very southern family of if you get pregnant because you just wanted to have sex and have fun, even if you're doing it safely, there is still a consequence and a chance of you getting pregnant.
mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I will respect you more if you do have the thing of I want to hold this pregnancy and become a parent because that would be a right thing to do in that situation because that's part of your stuff. But I also believe that if you know you're not fit for it, if you know that you cannot give the child the best of its life, or if you know that the child might end up with a very large handicap that will make its life hell,
Excuse me. Oh, my goodness.
then I think that your choices should be available to you. But I don't think abortion should be the automatic go-to of, oh, I got knocked up because I was having fun I was being promiscuous and I got knocked up accidentally. That's a whole nother thing on its own. But honestly, I
Yeah.
believe that people should be safe. Take birth control, use condoms, stuff like that. And also pull-out game. Make sure pull-out game is your strongest asset, guys. But...
And there's also such thing as oral sex.
Obviously. But
use your mouth.
But the biggest
On
thing
the other
is...
end, you could go through the...
I don't think abortion should be off the table as a form of birth control in the fact of... Like, for example, the morning after pill, stuff like that, where you know... It's not even at a mass of cells at that point. It just makes you basically have your period at an accelerated rate. At that point,
But
I don't think there's anything
like it's
truly
attached to
wrong
the
with that.
uterus yet.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like a normal period.
Or even if it is attached to the uterus, it still scrapes the lining like how a period normally goes.
Yeah.
When it's at that case,
There's nothing wrong with that.
When it's at that case and just a mass of cells to where it could be just seen as a heavy period, I don't see anything wrong with that. The slightest thing I may have something wrong with is, as we were talking previously before the show, was the thing of basically a fetus already being almost completely formed. After a certain point where the brain is formed and, you know, you can feel the kicks, there's voluntary and involuntary actions of the fetus. At that point, it feels like there's almost a bit of a too much... there's not much wiggle room.
There is too much life.
There's not much wiggle room at that point because it's already so far ahead.
Yeah.
You would basically... A lot of people at that point would even be agreeing that that would be killing something.
Yeah. Even I would.
But I believe if it's just a mass of cells, and even if it has the heartbeat but not the brain, where it doesn't have any form of neurological actual stuff like a prenatal heartbeat, for example. For example, tumors can just have heartbeats. Doesn't mean they're thinking, you know what I mean? But if it's just a mass of cells and has a heartbeat at worst, at that point, that even then I feel like it's a cusp of that is controversial to say. But if it's at the area between heartbeat and brain...
Yeah.
I believe at that point.
And to go along with what you were saying, there's a form of mass, or a type of tumor, where it'll grow hair, it'll grow, and it's all your DNA. It's not like a pregnancy. It can be anywhere in your body that this happens. But it usually happens
tissue,
for women.
Teeth.
Brain tissue, teeth, eyelashes, nails, you name it. But it's a tumor, and it happens a little bit more to women. From what I can recall, I learned about this through the show Monsters Inside Me. And, you know, how in that case, it's creating your body to, or causing your body to send white blood cells, especially if it has, like, brain tissue. It's attacking your brain. So, in those situations, you know, it may disguise itself as a pregnancy, but really, it's something really dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
And normally, doctors are able to tell the difference. But this is how we're kind of gonna transition into the next part of this topic is medical emergencies.
Yes.
When, say, mom is 5-6 months pregnant.
Medical.
And she's in need of medical attention because baby is not doing so well. If baby is on the verge of dying inside of her because she's doing everything right, but something just hasn't, you know, progressed right down there.
Something shot off wrong in the genes, and now that thing is about to become a rotting corpse.
Or the fetus has already died.
Exactly.
And she's just now carrying this corpse inside her gut.
I still find
it's a medical emergency to get that out of her.
I still find that interesting and fucked up that that's even still counted as an abortion, because at that point, if it's already,
it's just a dead body.
That's what I'm saying. At that point, if it's already dead, it's counted as a miscarriage. But you need an abortion to get rid of that miscarriage if it's unable to pass through your uterus naturally.
So that way mom can have a second chance at having another baby.
Yeah.
My question is, what about those that where they have to like take the kid out because of mental emergency for the child?
Oh, that's just premature birth at that point. They put them in an incubation tank and they're fine. But
that's a preemie.
Usually that's a thing to save the child. A lot of women get C-sections and stuff to
that's
save
literally
the child.
A C-section.
Yeah, but
it's not an abortion if they're saving it, Jado.
Okay.
That's why it's called the C-section, and the baby's called a preemie because the baby was meant to be alive, and they did everything they could to keep it alive. And it was for the baby's sake that it needed to come out of mom.
That's on a.
So it's just a preemie baby.
Yes.
What if if it died after they take it out?
If it dies after they take it out, then that's just a.
They did everything. That's.
What is that called?
It's just a natural death.
FM.
Yeah.
FMS. Fetal mortality syndrome or something. It's something along those lines. It's where if a preemie baby has a chance of dying, their mortality rate is high.
Yeah.
And that's
they're still trying to do everything they can to keep the baby alive, and it's not considered abortion either because they're still doing the same thing as what.
With them doing all this, anything like that is going to be considered that by the church and all that.
No.
Churches. Here's the thing: churches have
the church is gonna be like, "Oh, you're saving."
I was gonna say churches have hated C-sections for a while because they're not natural births. Nobody gives a fuck about what the church thinks about C-sections, though. The whole thing about C-sections is it's not counted as an abortion because they think abortion is the killing of a baby. C-sections are you're trying to save something, even if it's an unnatural birth. They're like, oh, it's in God's will that baby should have died.
There are cases where mom is full term, baby's supposed to come out, and they plan to do it vaginally, but they need to do it C-section because sometimes, and this does happen,
it'll drag the woman out with
the umbilical cord will... What?
Oh,
sorry. The umbilical cord will get wrapped around the neck.
Yes, the umbilical cord will go around the neck, or like the arm or something, and cause a very big risk to the baby, so they have to do a C-section to save the baby.
Yeah.
And
that's not counted as an abortion because you're not trying to clip that up. You know what I mean, Jado?
You're trying to save it.
That's the difference.
I'm just trying to verify with all these states.
What sanctifies as an abortion?
Mm-hmm.
The quote-unquote, and this is by the church, the quote-unquote killing of an unborn fetus.
And it's a big word there is killing.
Killing
of an unborn fetus. So C-sections and stuff like that is when you're trying to save the baby.
Or premature.
You don't want that thing to live at all.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is some people might go like, that was malpractice, the baby died, and so and so.
That's still not an abortion. I understand where you're getting at, but that is not an abortion.
I know that, but that's what I'm saying is...
A malpractice of a loss of life during a C-section is not an abortion, sadly. I don't know why I'm saying sadly. That's actually for the better.
But that's what I'm saying is... Nowadays, people are going to try to use this as that.
The one thing I disagree about anything abortion-related, this is going to be probably the most controversial subject, and trust me, I'm on y'all's side of approving of y'all's ability to choose. But there is one thing that really irks me, and y'all can feel free to denote this, I'm a guy, don't listen to me. But it was the olden days act of where the woman would almost carry to term, and then, as long as it's still inside of her, they kill the child before it comes out. That I do not see as okay. They would do the brain scrambling technique of the babies being delivered. While they're still inside of their mother, they would cut them up and gash them at the back of the spine to try to kill it. And that's the only situation of, fuck no, that's not right. But at that case, that's one of the few things that are under abortion law where that was actually fully viable to do. And that's the only thing I do not agree with personally. Atlantic?
Yeah.
Are you alive?
Oh,
okay. Just make sure. We thought you were passing out.
Over and I heard your background.
I'm just adjusting. I just have to adjust myself because my back hurts.
Okay, I understand. But Star,
okay.
have you ever heard of?
That scared me.
Have you ever heard of abortions going through like that? Well, they're counted as abortions, but it's literally just killing the child at birth. That way you don't have to.
That's actually the first time I myself have heard
really?
that.
First time hearing about that.
No, not just. I've heard about the whole
Yeah.
coat hanger trick where you they get the metal coat hanger, clothing hangers.
Oh no, I know the coat hanger joke.
Shove it up
I know
in
I'm
about
saying
that.
a thing of
I
an
know about
actual
that,
medical
yeah.
professional.
It's not even a
doctor.
joke. That's actually what they used to do.
No, I know, but I'm saying
But,
about
yeah,
the
no.
actual medical professional will deliver the baby, and before it leaves the mother fully, kills it.
Yeah, I had no idea.
I
that
think
was a
this
thing.
was back during the times when even C-sections were very uncommon, and carrying the baby to term and then having it killed was quote unquote easier. It wasn't, but
That's a long time ago then.
yeah, it was quite a bit back. But I've heard stories about that, and that's one of the few situations that I just don't see that being right. Because if you're able to carry and basically deliver right there, and then you have the child killed, at that point, that would have been a preemie baby. That would have been able to survive outside the womb more than likely. You know what I mean? And at that point, that feels a bit too much on the cusp of what would be doable for abortion stuff. What do you think on that, Star? Because I'm kind of just... I feel like I'm kind of just talking out of my ass, though I have heard this from secondhand stuff. What do you think of like a situation like that?
It feels like that would have been possible. Like that probably was the case, but the medical community have probably tried to be like, okay, we're ashamed of that.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, it would make sense because, and nowadays, and I watch a YouTube channel called Dr. Mama Jones, and she's an OBGYN, and this is how I know a lot more about my own body as a woman. But she explains stuff about like how, especially in a situation like this, because whenever the law, because she's a Texas OBGYN, I don't know where in Texas, but she is here in Texas.
Wow.
She is completely against the law against abortions, and she helped clarify some certain things and whatever, because she believes it is for the woman to decide, and she hates that not only is it just a church, well, from what I can remember, it's been a minute, but like she had said she didn't like the fact that not only was it just like the law was put in place at all, but it was the fact that at that time it was a male governor that put the law in place for women not to do abortions in Texas.
It's men telling women what they can do with their bodies.
Exactly, and I hate that because, again, I'm bringing back up my rape situation. If I had gotten pregnant by my stepfather and I was not allowed to have an abortion, again, I would hate that child. I wouldn't want that man to have that child because I know how abusive he is to not only me but my baby brother. And it's not physical; it's mostly emotional. But still, that's pretty fucking bad. And I can't stand the idea of
other girls having to go through something similar like that.
That too, but like the foster care system and adoptions, like okay, adoptions maybe because if you sorry.
Even if
there was
you
too much in my mouth.
Yeah, I understand. But even if you put up with the entirety of carrying a child to full term and having the baby and everything like that, there's no guarantee that that child will actually be cared for in foster care or adoption like that. Like, it's just unknowable. I've heard so many
stories from actual family members, or, well, step-family members and, like, friends that were in foster care, and Reddit stories, of course, that they had a terrible upbringing in the foster care. Now, that's not to say that there aren't parents out there who, of course, cannot have their own children or have, and they're trying to adopt that can't save those children. There are people out there, and I bless you all, even if I'm not religious, I God bless y'all for putting up with all of the government shit to try and save those kids and give them a good home while they can.
Mm-hmm.
But this wouldn't be an issue if women are allowed to get rid of the kids in the first place, or teenagers. Like, and this should be discounted for teenagers, especially like a 13-year-old who got pregnant by Uncle Billy.
Yeah.
And bump up nowhere. Like, she should be allowed to get an abortion because that's just not right. And if that child had to live in the foster care system and lived in a house with like 8 other foster kids with this mom that just did not give a fuck, made them all do the house chores, barely fed them, barely gave them enough of anything.
Yeah.
Like, isn't there a YouTube channel out there or something with these two? Nothing against lesbians. I'm all for the LGBTQ. I'm bi. But there's 2 lesbians that have all these foster kids or adopted kids, and behind the scenes is actually abusive, but they do all these things to try to make it look like they're the happiest fucking family ever.
It basically runs them like a farm. I think I've heard of that.
Bingo.
Basically.
Also, we'll be getting into that later into the show. We will be talking about LGBT and gay and trans rights being changed due to the overturning of Roe versus Wade, as well as other stuff that are coming in the Supreme Court possibly down the line. That'll be for
honestly,
later,
at this point, with everything in a whole, all that's happening when it comes to this, it's just the older generation being influenced by, and I'm sorry to you religious people, but outdated books that are just being like, well, this is right, this is what I grew up with, you're gonna have to. Like, excuse me, I've got my own issues going on.
Half of those people in the Supreme Court can't even...
It's genetic in my family.
Exactly. God.
And like, I've got a blood clot issue that's genetic in my family. I've got my PCOS that's genetic through my family. I've got so many more things that I would like not to give out to the public, but
yes,
you know, if I were to have a kid, I'm giving them all of those health issues, and that their life is more than likely going to be just as miserable as mine is.
Who would want to knowingly put a child into this world at this date and time? Because of how bad everything is.
I would love
for myself,
unless you're like well set, like H2O's leader is, Nogla and all them. Nobody should be having children unless you're very well set off.
Exactly. Like, make sure you take care of yourself before you try to have a child. And if you end up getting knocked up, but you want the kid, all for you. I wish the best for you. And I hope the baby has a wonderful life.
Sometimes that little bit of extra motivation of, okay, I'm going to be a parent now, I'm going to have to work my ass off. Sometimes that turns people around, and that's good. But that's not the default.
More power to you if that happens.
That's sadly not the default, however, and a lot of children end up being abused, neglected, and so on and so forth.
And a lot of it goes unchecked because the kids will think it's normal until they get out of school and realize, wait, this wasn't normal.
Mm-hmm.
And
all the people clicking, realizing, oh, damn, I had a bad childhood. When they thought it was fine.
I hear those stories on Reddit a lot. And I myself can't say I had the worst childhood being brought up. A lot of the bad stuff that happened to me, matter of fact, all of the bad stuff that happened to me came from my biological mother's side of the family. My biological mother was not a good mom. She tried. She gave up drugs. She gave up a lot of the stuff that she was doing. I'll give her credit there, but she didn't want to be my mom. She never did. She had made it clear from day one that I was not planned, I was not wanted, I was not loved. But she tried. Kudos to her trying. But if you're not going to love the kid, don't try. Be like, hey, I'm sorry. you're wonderful, but I can't love you. And move on with your life. Let them be with the family that loves them.
Yeah.
Oh, something just also came to mind that actually is a good point to bring up. Surrogate mothers.
Ah, surrogates.
Surrogates. I give you a lot of props for that. Y'all are wonderful people out there.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna use a reference to Family Guy for this. There was a old abortion episode about Family Guy. Weird situation that I'm even bringing this up. There was a weird abortion episode about Family Guy where Lois was a surrogate mother for a couple, carried the baby to a very far term, and then the couple ended up getting killed in a car crash. What does the surrogate mother do in that situation?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the entire reason you were going to have this kid is now completely out the window.
It's for those people.
Exactly. And
No,
it's
it's not
now
to
out
say
the
that
window,
there's no
and
chance that somebody else would want
obviously, no.
But it's gonna be kind of hard that late in the game. Be like, all right, this is the genetics that you're working with. Do you want it?
Exactly. That's a situation of itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That episode is like banned in like fucking so
It's
many
actually
fucking
banned
areas.
If you want to watch it, you have to watch it on some things just to.
Oh right. Any more topics, Star? Because we did the thing of we talked about birth control, we talked about rape victims, we talked about surrogates.
Incest.
We also talked about incest situations. Can you think of anything else before we move on to the LGBT stuff?
I think we went over like medical history, right?
We did talk about medical stuff and passing down stuff.
Yeah,
not wanting to be able to pass down certain things.
Yeah, for example, in my family, I'm actually terrified to have kids because either way, regardless of gender, the kids
gonna end up like you.
No,
I'm joking, but
okay.
Still.
So, cancer runs from the females of my family, and for the males of my family. This has happened twice in the past 2 generations. My dad and my grandfather, where they both had a blood clot in their left leg.
Oh.
Like a really bad fucking blood clot. And
well, you need to see a doctor and get yourself on some blood.
Yeah, y'all got that thick blood syndrome.
Yeah, I am trying to see a doctor about that. I just have to set an appointment, and I've not had the chance to yet.
I understand. So we talked about medical, not wanting to pass down stuff. It's just straight up not a good climate to have children in unless you're very well set off.
Yeah, unless if you know you can have a child, unless if you know you're able to handle a child.
That too. Some people just should not have children in general because, Star, you remember that whole situation you had about whenever you worked in the, was it kindergarten?
I was a daycare worker. I was a teacher at a daycare. And I love kids. I absolutely adore children. And I wish I could be a mom. But and this is actually something that people don't realize, that as a child myself, I had learned a bad habit from my biological mother of a short temper. Of course, I've got some mental health issues going on, of course. Borderline personality disorder, autism, all that jazz. But she was so short-tempered with us. She was gritting her teeth as hard as she could. She was growling a growl tone of voice at us. She would make us do these very terrible forms of timeout. Like, it was like military level of pain.
Like
I guess you
dark
could say.
Closets, I guess.
No. Well, yeah, no, I never went to the dark closets. The one thing that I remember, and I hate it to this day, is it was the form of a wall push-up, but you're holding yourself up, your arms as high as you can, and you're on your tippy toes with them as far back as you can.
Yeah.
And I had to stand there for half an hour. That was the most painful thing as a child. And I can't even remember what I was in trouble for.
Nope, you never do.
Yeah.
It was probably something that a simple spank might have actually fixed over.
I believe in that kind of stuff. But like when it came to working at the daycare as a teacher back into the present time, I recognized it way early that I was starting to act like that. I learned those habits from my mother as a child. And I was starting to do the grit teeth thing, being very angry. And I was just becoming too aggressive towards the kids. I loved them. I still miss them to this day.
But basically,
but because
a big
I started
thing
seeing
clicked in
that,
your mind
I immediately quit.
I don't want to hurt these. I don't want to take a chance of hurting these kids for any reason like that.
Exactly.
So you got out
Which
there.
Which is another reason why I'm so scared to have my own. Because I know that's going to happen. I know that personality.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to be a terrible mother. Now, maybe later down the line when I'm older, I can adopt a child who's older, who's not a small kid. Who,
you know, past the point of being a little shit.
Yeah. The terrible twos are not good for me.
Yeah.
But like, I can give a home to a teenager or a preteen or somebody young who needs a home and needs a loving family.
Yeah.
And being a video game freak as I am, a nerd, I'm a straight up game girl. I can be very awesome as a mom when it comes into regards of, hey, can I play the Xbox? Alright, you've got this long.
Hell, or, like, honestly, she has a very motherly nature whenever she plays D&D and all types of other stuff with us. Hell, she's adopted Lanik.
Yeah.
He's my child.
Now,
yeah, behind you.
I will bring up this. One of my friends, their wife, they currently are divorced. The wife, without the permission, adopted a teenager. And he was getting into a whole bunch.
Divorce?
Before.
What happened to the teenager?
He was just he went and moved in with another person, but with his another family member, because he was one of those. He got into so much trouble. He was bounced around.
Oh, he was a ne'er-do-well.
Oh, yeah. Okay. He one time he snuck into the my friend. He just bought a whole bunch of Angry Orchard, which is not that cheap of a beer or a cider. Can be pretty expensive. Yeah. And the kid, he only, like, my friend only had 2. It was a full 6-pack he had in the fridge, all gone the next day.
Jeez.
The teenager sold it all. And that ain't a cheap drink. And he would actually go around, he was vandalizing shit, stealing shit and all that.
I'm guessing you're bleeding this into the ability of childcare, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Both parents should be willing to take responsibility, too.
Yeah.
Because
and before we go too far, while this is fresh on my mind, just because mom says so in court during divorce, she may not actually be a good mom.
Oh no. Yeah. A lot of stuff
my dad raised me, and he was amazing.
A lot of stuff primarily goes to the mothers during the court cases, and that's something else that
and it's stupid.
Us as the human race need to work on just that reform as well on its own. But we can definitely still keep it back on track of the recent stuff. We'll talk about that another time.
Off topic.
It is definitely similar, and I understand, but that is kind of a completely different issue.
I just wanted to bring that
I'm trying to keep this on. I'm wanting to keep this on women when that's very much a men issue.
Yeah.
Well, this is kind of still on the child.
True.
Because focus on the child in this part of the conversation. If in the courts, if mom is given the child and mom is not a good mom, then what the fuck?
Yeah, almost nothing happens. Yeah.
It's just making mom, wasting. Like, I've heard so many different Reddit stories from r/ where mom wins the court case, she gets to keep the kid, she keeps the custody, whatever.
Yeah.
And she turns out to be
a piece of shit.
Very, yeah, basically. Then she goes out to parties with her boyfriend and leaves the kids alone, even though they're not old enough to take care of themselves. Forcing those children to grow up.
Yeah.
Or they use the child as a manipulation object on the.
Oh yeah,
or a cash grab.
It's a chess piece in the big game that they're playing with their husband. Yeah.
And that's terrible for the child. There was no reason for her to have the kid in the first place.
A child should never be the rope in the tug of war between two parents.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why it should be a big thing that abortion is an option, because if mom's just going to use the kid as a tool, and it's obvious she's going to, because she's already been this greedy bitch.
Oh, don't even get me started on the whole thing of abortion. If, for example, a guy and a girl get together, the guy knocks her up, the guy would actually want the child, the woman does not care for it.
But if that's the case, give it to the guy.
Yes, but I'm also of a thing of, I don't think that the chick should have to, just for the guy's sake, carry to term.
Yeah.
But if the guy is willing to actually fucking take care of the child, I'd say let him be a father, and you can just give up your rights to it.
Yeah, it's easy.
Same thing that guys do. If a guy can write away his rights to his children so he doesn't have to pay child support, so the mom gets full custody and shit like that, then so be it.
Yeah.
But I don't believe using it as leverage.
Use babies as a cash grab.
Don't even get me started on the women that are wanting to get knocked up to fuck over a dude's life.
Baby trapping. I hate that.
Yeah, baby trapping, like a fucking chick fucking a football player because she knows he's loaded. Wants to get knocked up by him, puts holes in the condoms and stuff.
I knew a chick when I was in high school who wanted to do that to one of the football players.
God.
And this, he actually would have been an amazing father too. He was a super nice guy. At least when I last saw him, he was a super nice guy. But when they were both in high school, not the best decision to make while you're in high school.
Exactly.
And he was very irresponsible. He wanted to wait until he was way older and see where his life took him.
Hell, honestly, I don't want to see anything about kids until I'm almost around 30, almost. To be honest.
Honestly, I'd rather just adopt than actually have a kid myself.
Honestly, same.
I think that can be for most of our group. It's we want to adopt the kids that need a home rather than have our own and add to the ginormous population of this planet.
Hell, if we ever make this channel big enough, we'll fucking start giving to some of those fucking foster charities. I'd be down with that.
Exactly. Yeah, I'd be happy to donate to charities all the time.
Hell, now that I'm actually working, I might actually have enough money to give fucking to charity myself. That'll be a good tax payoff, but also the fact of I'll be helping people. I've always wanted to help people with this channel, kind of like how Markiplier did and stuff when he used to stream way back.
Like at my work, we do donations and all that, and actually drives and all that.
That's nice.
Hell, we actually we were going to do a blood drive this last Friday, but the blood truck actually broke down before I got there.
That happens sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, but then one of the coworkers made a joke about them being a pint low because of the gas prices.
Yeah.
I get that.
That's another topic that we need to get onto.
We'll do gas in a later video.
Another day.
Trust me,
if this is posted
this gas problem will be long enough to actually be its own video on its own.
Honestly,
but
just real quick.
Yes.
If this video is getting posted in time, doesn't matter.
No, it's not getting too close.
There is a boycott for the gas on July 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Do not buy any gas.
I've been seeing that.
So fill up your tank beforehand. Because supposedly this has happened before. And I've looked it up, and yeah, it works. So it basically just be like, all the gas companies are just like, okay, we need to drop our prices again. And that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So all of us need to do it.
Okay.
According to Meta, like we're gonna have a food shortage going on soon.
Yeah, I've been hearing
Yeah,
about
that would make sense
personally
too.
as well. That's another
I
thing.
saw a chicken factory burnt down.
Why the fuck do they want y'all to have so many babies and shit? If we're having a fucking formula shortage.
I know.
Right?
Like they're having a formula.
There
We're
are
having a
women out there
formula
who can't even
shortage right now.
produce breast milk.
Exactly. There's people that can't have.
Props
like,
to those who
can't make
donate
There's
breast milk.
people who
I have to
can't
give
have
y'all
breast
some
meat.
big props on that, but
Okay, with that, there's actually a TV show I used to watch, Adam Moon's Everything. He actually had a whole special on the breast milk stuff.
I don't listen to Adam Ruins
Autofoma.
Everything. He's kind of a shitty redditor.
Some of it is fine.
Some
what
of
I'm
it's
saying.
fine, but some of the stuff it's
yeah.
very
I haven't watched
snooty of.
anything about the formula.
Some of it's very snooty of. I know more than you.
Yeah.
But it's shit people
Which I
basically
Yeah, that's what
already
it feels
knew.
like.
But pretty much, those who go like baby formula is toxic. It's proven that it isn't scientifically. Nothing on it
That's
causes
been
what you
disproven
guys
a long
say.
time ago, ever since Gerber and stuff, because they
Yeah.
were losing a lot of money from stocks because that rumor was spreading, and they were like, no, we actually got this officially FDA tested
Yeah.
and shit to make
If
sure.
it's FDA approved, it's okay.
Exactly, to
And
make
now,
sure, because yeah.
And those people who said that where it doesn't allow for bonding with the infant as much as breastfeeding, it's actually just allowing
Well,
it to
okay.
listen to your heartbeat.
Here's the
And
thing.
there's other ways for it to actually bond with you.
Here's the thing.
Hmm.
I mean, you're right, but there are women out there who can't breast, and I'm saying this to the audience. There are women out there who cannot breastfeed because their body, for whatever reason, just could not make the milk.
Or if they have a
And-
medical reason.
Hey, I'm talking.
Sorry.
But yes. And I feel bad for those women. But those of you who say that they have to, that they're not bonding with their child, or this, and that, whatever bullshit you're saying about no bonding or no motherly love or whatever because she can't make her milk, it's not her fault her body did that. If you want to blame somebody, blame that man you call God. Because he made us this way. Sorry, Jason, I'm not trying to out you specifically, but...
No, I understand.
And I have to give credit to where it's due with the women who go out there, who may not even be pregnant, that just go out there and do specific healthy things, like certain diets or something that makes breast milk, so that way they can
some women are straight up able to make
hospitals.
Yeah, some women are actually able to make breast milk without ever having a child.
Yeah.
I mean, here I am, like, how long has it been since I first announced that I've been making breast milk?
4 months.
I don't make a lot. Yeah, and I'm nowhere near pregnant. Even a doctor has said I'm not pregnant. The one that goes up my cooter.
Huh.
And doing it slow or make it less funny. Sorry. He's trying to open the door.
Understandable.
But, it's... I lost track. Oh, there are women out there who purposely produce milk and make sure their milk production is high so they can donate it to hospitals. And for those mothers who cannot create their own milk or can't breastfeed for whatever the reason may be, and I give y'all big props on that. Y'all got a lot of heart there. And I just, I don't know. At this point, with everything going on, I feel like America's just getting worse because now that women don't have the right to just, focus on what they need to do. School is so expensive. Gas is expensive.
Shit's getting knocked
Food
back
is
to the
expensive.
dark ages.
Yep.
Basically, we are going back in time.
More expensive, yeah.
And before this topic holds on for too much longer, I'm going to let you finish this point, but we do got to get on the LGBT stuff.
Oh, yeah. Actually, no, we can hop on to them. I am all for the LGBTQ community. I am kind of a part of it. I'm not too into it because...
Me and Lanik are both bi, Star's bi, Jado's the straightest of us because he's a good Christian boy.
But I am supportive.
He's a supportive Christian.
He's a very supportive Christian.
He's very supportive. And he's one of the better Christians out there. And my husband is actually pansexual. So he didn't care that I was a woman, even though he's a country boy.
Mm-hmm.
He's from the deep south.
It's also probably the fact that we're Southern. Texas. It's probably the fact that all of us are Southern. We have our own views on this that might be different from somebody more up north, like up in Montana or Nevada.
I was born in Colorado.
You know what's funny is, technically speaking, I'm both Northern and Southern because of my.
Well, I mean, what you were raised around, more so.
I'm raised,
I was both in Colorado and Texas.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I was raised around both Michigan and Texas, so.
Speaking of
both
which,
Northern.
Speaking of which, last point. Star, specifically, since this affects you and not me or Lanik or, hell, even Jado. How do you feel about your rights specifically being taken in Texas? To finish up the piece of that.
I'm pissed off. I am actually pissed off. Like, I'm disappointed that this has gone this bad. Like, you see all of these communities and stuff, like LGBTQ out there, and they're... A lot of it, they fought for it. But at this point, women's rights has already been fought for.
That's
and
been good for 50
still
years,
be this much of an issue.
But now they're deciding to undo it.
And I'm not saying it to this group because these guys are the best. I love and cherish them because they're all awesome. But you old-ass motherfuckers out there that call yourselves governors or churchgoers or whatever, if you think you have the right to control anybody, woman, man, whatever, you're wrong. This isn't your choice. This is supposed to be, especially in America, it's supposed to be a majority vote, and that includes the younger audience. Maybe not, like legal age up to whenever they go into the grave. As insensitive as that sounds, our words matter. Our thoughts matter. And the fact that I cannot, for my sake or my future child, if ever possible, for health's sake, whatever, cannot get the abortion. Because, like, that baby died in me or something.
She would have to carry
I'm putting that on you.
And that's dog
I'm putting that on you. If I die, my family, and I'm making sure of it, if I die because I have to carry that dead fetus inside of me all the way to term, my entire family is suing me.
That is also why I have specifically made this for Star, that if anything were to happen between her relationship, her husband, boyfriend, anything like that, stuff like that, if she ended up getting knocked up and was unable to seek the care that she needed in the area of Texas, I would graciously offer her Sanctum here in my place of living for her to get the help that she needs.
And I can't thank you enough.
And that's only a thing of if anything happens. There's a high chance it might not, but if it does and this shit isn't blown over by then and, put through bullshit, then it's on the table, you know what I mean? There's also one more thing, a little bit of an intermission, because I find this hilarious. Lanik, you know that fucking image I sent you about that cat? About fucking this morning? Yeah, Somebody's been doxing. Somebody has been doxing all of the Supreme Court justices' fucking houses.
Like their actual full addresses.
Full-on addresses doxing. All over Twitter and Tumblr.
Oh, Jesus.
And I'm gonna tell you this now. I wouldn't be surprised if any of them are dead within the month. I'm not saying I'm hopeful or I want it, but I'm saying I can see it happening soon with how many people they have just pissed off.
Oh yeah, for sure. When you piss off people,
I mean, if you're treating women like they're already, like, hell, less than guns. Guns have more rights than you now, Star. Ain't that a fucked up sentence? But that's what I'm saying. If a woman has less rights, well, than anything else. The worst people to fuck with, I've always held this, the worst people to ever fuck with are the people with nothing to lose. And these motherfuckers just gave a lot of people nothing to lose with this bullshit. So, I'm not gonna be surprised if I see any of them dead within the coming month.
I mean, I have to actually agree with your Discord status.
Hopefully we get somebody better in the house.
Women need to riot.
Hopefully we get somebody better in that house, so to speak.
Yes.
If that happens.
Yeah,
I would make a better president at this point.
Because if I remember correctly, that certain position...
Child, you were too hard for your mind.
Lanik, you are gone. Son of a bitch!
Oh, jeez.
Oh!
I just see his hands go...
Alright, despite that part that we had to cut out, I think we actually might be on time, so let's continue the LGBT. So, this whole thing about Roe versus Wade...
I'm just gonna be talking in the VR chat.
Oh, okay. Okay,
yeah,
so this...
let me
mute you.
Right now.
Yeah.
Actually,
Or mute
I'll mute
yourself on
myself
the
for
thing,
this.
yeah. There you go.
I got muted now?
Yep, you're better now. Okay, so, what were you saying earlier?
I was gonna go on about how that certain position is, if I remember correctly, a life position.
As long as they're alive, they stay in that position, so the moment somebody's out of that
or until
house,
they choose to retire.
That too. Which none of them really do.
Which none of them really do. They usually do keep it for life.
Like, just imagine if how many of them died, and then got suddenly replaced of how quickly shit would have to flip.
Yeah, true.
That's why I'm not going to be surprised if people pull... I wouldn't be surprised if people full on pull extremist and do some heinous shit. I'm fully foreseeing it. This might be just as bad as the whole George Floyd situation all over again.
I would like to point out...
We're not saying it's right. We're just saying it's a high possibility may happen. Because, as Halo said, if you give a shit ton of people
nothing to lose,
they're gonna do some extreme shit.
Yep.
It has happened all throughout history, and well, a lot of people are just given nothing to lose.
But yes, go on, Star.
Just so that way, because I know this is going to be like a big point, I am not Republican or Democrat. I don't give a fuck about the government. Until it actually
there's literally stuff on both
interferes with my
sides
life.
that I want. But I can't say I'm on one side or the other without getting hate from one side or the other. So I just choose to be in the middle, and I pick and choose the things I like.
Oh, Trump was bad, blah, 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 blah. And then I hear from my own husband, like, oh, Biden this, Biden that. It's like, shut up, I don't care.
Like, literally, you're able to pick and choose the things that you like out of both sides. The shame that comes from it is that you're not able to get the best of both. Now for this.
What happened to the third house? Like, there was supposed to be like 3 House of Representatives in the government. What happened to that third fucking house?
I don't think anything happened with it.
The third house
it just kind of sits there.
Yeah.
Oh, one of my things died.
Most of the time, the third house is usually a third party. Usually not one of the main.
The third one never gets enough votes, so it just goes for the closest thing.
Yeah, it just goes for the closest
to what they line up with, like how Bernie Sanders went blue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
But yeah, let's talk about the LGBT.
The government's so confusing at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I mean,
okay, so a big thing about this whole Roe versus Wade thing is the high possibility of them going after LGBT rights next. I.e., for example, the lack of autonomy. It seems like they're just trying to pull a full Christian 180 of we need to have babies, we need to make men men and women women again. From what it seems, by the fact of they're probably going to be doing something about hormonal therapy for trans people. And they might also be going after gay marriage.
This is so wrong.
It's very wrong. And I honestly feel for all types of gay people out there and such, considering I'm bi. Because a lot of my closer friends are more on the gayer part of the spectrum. Isn't that right, Lanik?
Yes.
Like, what if...
And my oldest brother is gay.
Like, the stuff that goes through my head is, what if Lanik wants to get married further down in life, and it turns out that it's not to a woman? I'm also...
Why should somebody else care?
Exactly. Nobody should care because he's not fucking hurting anybody.
At this point, it's like, mind your own fucking business. Whether it's about abortion, about who marries who does what with their life. Unless it directly impacts you, you should not give a flying fuck about what somebody does across the damn country.
And no, your Aunt Karen fucking saying that she raised a faggot doesn't count of emotional distress of you hurting her. You have to be physically hurting someone with what you're doing for it to be acknowledgeable.
All I'm gonna say is,
perfect example of family. Blood does not make family.
Mm-hmm.
Now do what, Jada?
Okay, Christian, Blue, you got your line.
Oh, I was just gonna say is, no one should give a flying reindeer about what 2 consenting adults do in their own bedroom.
Exactly. If you want to be in the blood play, fucking be in the blood play. If y'all are both consenting, fucking do the most heinous shit between the two of you. But if you both consent, that's dandy.
Why should somebody
better fucking thing to you? Nobody should actually care about what consenting adults are doing, or to yourself. Same thing. If you're getting hormonal therapy because you are confused or have some sort of mental thing about you.
Well, if you actually...
Controllers would be so much better off with their own lives. They wouldn't be as harsh or unhappy or whatever if they just stopped caring about other people and worried about the ones that are directly next to them. Their family.
It's affecting my family because my son might be gay. That's what they're going to come out with.
Let him go on his way.
And that's what's even stupider. Those parents...
Hang on.
Sorry?
I'm sorry, Jason, but it's like, if you don't like your child because they ended up being gay,
then they didn't
or
need you.
Whatever.
They do not need you in their life.
Exactly.
Yep.
Disown them and let them go find their real family. And by that, I mean, it doesn't need to be blood to be family.
Mm-hmm.
My family is sitting here on the couch with me. My family is sitting in many different chats on my Discord. My family is sitting in an apartment down the street from me, is sitting in the living room. Or in bed, whatever time it is. It's 11. They're in bed. And they're not directly blood related to me.
Yeah.
My family is who I am happy with. And that should mean the same thing to you in the LGBTQ community. And a lot of you are like that. And I I give you so much props to having that strength. And for those of you who are trying to get the strength for that, I'm here. I'm cheering you on. I may not know you, but you have my love and support. I don't have to know you, because you have my love and support for being strong, of being who you are. Your mom, your dad, uncle, grandma, grandpa, if they don't love you for who you truly are, that's their loss and somebody else's gain. Somebody else will love you no matter what. They'll be like, hey, you're the best sister I ever had, or hey, I love you so much I want to marry you.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. Like, Lanik, I can't tell if he's bi or gay or whatever at this point, because
he's bisexual
how many relationships
with
he's tried.
further to a gay lean.
Bisexual.
Okay.
I'm bisexual.
But my point is I don't care about that. He's an amazing person, and I adopted him as my child because I love him. I care for him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's told me how he doesn't have the best childhood with his mom, and I'm a motherly person, so he's my VR chat child.
And she doesn't have to deal with the
even though he's
deal with the terrible twos.
The terrible twos.
Yeah.
But like, we started off as just best friends, like friends to best friends, to be like, all right, you know what? Fuck it, you're my kid now. I love you. And Jato, he's like a brother to me. One that we love to pick on.
Oh yeah.
DJ, that crazy cousin.
Yes. We pick on him a lot.
He's not talking much. He's in here, but he's
CJ has been here the entire time, kind of listening.
He's been here the entire time, by the way.
He has been here listening the entire time, just to be, yeah.
Popo, he's not going to be on the show, but he's one of our friends, and he's a good friend.
He's got some of the most. He has the more rougher opinions, but his opinions are still. They're stationed in reality. You could definitely understand where it's coming from. Never a place of malice, but from realism.
So and I see him more as like another brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Halo. Halo's just. I can't put you on the family scale at the moment, but you're closer.
I'm very much a caregiver for a lot of the people in this group. I care for all these because these were the people that I had with me when I had no one.
And that's what your family is. When nobody else is there for you, but
if nobody else is
there
for you,
people that aren't even blood related,
Halo's there for you.
Those people are your family.
Those people are there for you.
Yeah.
Star's there for you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Lanik.
And that's also why I kind of want anybody that sees this video. I want to build a community. I want people to get this known. I always say that like, comment, and subscribe stuff, but honestly, if you have people that share similar views and stuff, or hell, you just want to piss off a bunch of people with misinformation, because we've honestly kind of just been talking out of our ass with personal experience. So, what we're saying might not be the most truthful, but it's experiences that we have known through our lives growing up and dealing with them personally. So, if you want, feel free to share this with people. Give a like, dislike, give us a comment down in the bottom and tell us what you think of this. Give us your personal experiences and tell us how you're currently feeling about this situation. I'm sorry that the LGBT section isn't as big as the rest of the Roe vs. Wade and stuff section, but that's only because it is still currently a developing situation at the moment.
Yeah, nothing major has happened.
Nothing major has happened to the LGBT.
We're trying to tell you that you have our love and support.
You have our support, and we hope that it doesn't get worse from here. We know it will, but we'll try and be there for you. Does anybody else have anything to say on these topics before we end this? I believe we are actually on good time. Lanik, you first.
Lanik, go ahead.
Alright, so this kind of goes back to like the LGBTQ thing. I myself, my family is either bisexual or gay. There's very few of us are actually straight. Actually, my bad. That's a bit of a lie. There's 6 of us in my family. 3 of us are bisexual or gay. 3 of us are straight. The oldest of my siblings actually is gay. Yeah, he's
Nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. Just know that if you don't feel like your parents might accept you for who you are, just know that they don't really have to. If you have friends that support you and care about you, that's all you really need, though I do understand.
Having your family's opinion does matter.
Having your family's opinion does matter.
But it shouldn't
be
the
if it's negative,
world.
don't let it take it. Yeah, if it's negative, don't let it bring you down. Just be like, well, I love myself, so I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And continue to love yourself.
Yeah.
You're number one.
If your parents don't accept you for who you are, or anything like that, as long as you have a good support group, you have your entire life.
You'll find somebody
for example,
that'll support you.
Exactly. For example, I have all these guys, and I have even more people that support me, care about me, and who I support and care about. And I hope to continue having all these people with me, even as older people and all that live through a lot of shit.
Friends we can have a beer with.
Yeah, exactly. And as long as you have that,
oh god, dead arm.
You're great. You're doing good.
Okay, Star. What was your last thing?
For those who in the LGBTQ family, when you come out to your family or whatever, it's an opposite of what we were just saying. Like, if your family is in need, like, oh my god, we knew, we love you, or just, oh, so this is how you are. Okay, I love you anyway. That's more power to you. Because that shows that your family does actually care, and they do love you. They love you.
If your family's willing to drop you for religious reasons or other small shit, you're probably better off without them.
As my dad has always told me, blood does not make family. You make your own family. Whether that is literal in go make a family, or more metaphorical in sense of find the people who mean the most to you.
Yeah.
And you would be sad without. That's your family. And here in the Night Sanctum and all of our Discord, you all have our support. You have our love and support, even if we are absolutely crazy people on the internet.
Just opinionated.
We don't care what you look like. Yeah, we don't care what you look like. We don't care what you sound like. We kind of care how you act, because your own personality is the biggest thing. It doesn't matter whether you're gay, straight, bi, male, female, everything in between of all of that. Your personality is what matters. If you're going to be an absolute bitch, that's on you. That'll be your own fault for not having friends or family or whatever. That's on you.
God, this is going to a
you look in the mirror if you see something's wrong.
This is going to a sad place really fast.
But to bring it back up, we're ending back on the golden rule. You treat other people with as much love, support, or just being plain old awesome to them, you're more than likely going to get that back. May not be from that exact person, somebody will make you feel better. Somebody's gonna make you smile.
Treat people the way you want to be treated.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And all of us here are here to make you smile, or at the very least think.
The one topic that you guys got to agree from the Bible.
Yeah, I was raised on that, and I believe it just because I've personally
with phalluses the sizes of horses and donkeys. Wait, that's the wrong verse.
Thank you, Rose.
Does anybody remember that one?
Yeah, I do.
I do not.
Of horses and donkeys.
You know what's funny is I remember so many random Bible verses. And I always mix them up with one another.
But yes.
Before we go, I do want. Oh, sorry, you were about to say something?
Go ahead.
It's just, I was gonna. Oh, this is from before earlier when you said, like, people's complaining, like, saying this turned my son gay and all that. If people that are blaming TV shows for turning their kids some way, why are you letting them watch that show? If you literally can.
I don't know, maybe it's a thing of the parents need to take responsibility for what their children are watching. I would never let a child watch us.
I'm gonna let you cut off right there, but how the fuck does that work?
Huh.
I know.
Alright, well, TJ finally joined us.
You're gonna say that a fucking cartoon or a live show, whichever is, I don't care, is gonna change your sexuality. I do not believe that one fucking bit.
Hey man, Star Fox made me gay.
That's what parents are saying nowadays.
Gay, dude, I like dudes now. No one's gonna say that. You don't know anyone.
I was afraid to say that. Whip for off a furry, bro.
I did not hear anything about that.
But I will say this: there was this new cartoon show I actually watched on Netflix.
If you're talking about Owl House or Amphibia.
No.
Okay.
It's on Netflix. It has a trans main character.
Oh. Was that the purple one that is everyone saying looks like if it was somebody making a joke at Steven Universe?
What?
It's
like everybody's calling it Tumblr trash. I don't know why.
It's actually a pretty good show. It's called Dead End. The episode 9 of the season is one of my favorites.
Okay, let's not talk about TV here. But
no, I'm just saying
it's good to see that we're getting actual
what it is
association.
I'm gonna spoil the warnings with it. It actually shows how even if parents actually accept their kids, doesn't mean they're always gonna defend their kids.
Oh yeah, no.
It actually shows that they actually accept the son. No, not. The kid who's trans for themselves, but they still argue and all that. And even when the grandma who's an older person, they don't defend the kid with all what she's saying. They just
That's what I said. Even like in those situations, you're number one. Love yourself. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. You gotta love yourself. I mean. Here I am, a 300-pound fat woman, and I actually love myself. Maybe not in the sense of I actually feel medically ill, and I know I'm very unhealthy with how big I am, but I do love myself. I no longer hate myself because I kind of learned that I'm number one. I matter first. Well, my opinion matters to me, and that's the biggest thing.
Honestly, since I
and
quit
everybody
being
else
lazy
is just gonna
shit,
love
I'm the same way. Started loving myself a lot more ever since I actually started, doing something with my life.
Are you gonna let your hair grow back out?
Yes, 100%.
I want to braid it again.
God damn it.
I would love to braid it again.
I wish I could grow my hair that long. Halo,
you could get an afro, motherfucker.
My hair goes poofy.
You get an orange afro.
I do.
We'll take you to the Amazon rainforest and put you with the other orangutans.
Alright.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I'm
Ending
more
it on a
scared to
high
hear than
note.
you do.
What's the last thing you want to say,
Yes.
Star?
With all of that being said, we're wrapping it up. Hello again, I'm up close. And I would like to just say, we love you, we care, your opinion matters. But don't be a sad sap. And with all of that, have a very good night.
Side note, Atlantic muted
Whatever.
the opposite way, so I couldn't hear anything he was talking about.
This will be a bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Up in the hills, fucking dudes.
I'll be in
Adios,
the hills,
amigo.
fucking dudes. You what? You what?